So this default constructor function initializes the data members with no argument. So the main line of this default constructor is this one. Am I sending any of the arguments or a parameter within that function? No. Then all the objects will going to be initialized to same set of values. If the member function has same name as of the class, then what I can call that? I can call that as what? Constructor. Hello everyone, I welcome you all to the second session on constructor and destructor chapter. In previous session, we had a discussion regarding what you mean by constructor and how it will be used and what are the rules that we need to follow while writing the constructor program. After that, we had one program that I have explained in the previous session. So in this session, I will be discussing regarding types of constructor. What are the types of constructor we have? We have three types of constructor. So which are those? So coming to the types of constructor, default constructor is there. Then we have parameterized constructor. At last we have copy constructor. How many constructors we have? That is three. Parameterized constructor, default constructor, as well as the copy constructor. So now we'll see first type of constructor, that is parameterized constructor. So before getting into this parameterized constructor, I just wanted you to recall the constructor. That means what are the rules that you have to follow and what is the syntax that we need to follow in order to write a constructor function or a constructor program. So here I am going to create one class with a name ABC. So what does this indicates? I am creating a class called ABC. After that, I am going to open a scope of this class. That is opening of a scope of that class called ABC, and I have one function which comes under public. So I am taking a public as an access specifier here. I am going to specify one of the member function ABC. So what is the name of a member function here? ABC. So I am not going to return any of the arguments or a parameter, and it may comprises of set of statements, that is a function body. At last I am going to close the class. I am going to close the scope of a class. So what and all you have to remember here is this ABC is a function of a class called ABC. Am I able to call this ABC as a constructor? Then what are all the rules it has to follow? It must have same name as of the class. So what is the name of a class here? ABC, and I have a same name of the member function, that is constructor. So it satisfies the first condition. Whether it is comes under public section or not, so it comes under the scope of public. So that second condition also got satisfied. So this constructor should not have any return type specifier. We should not specify any return value or return type. Did I specify here? No. So that I can call this ABC as a constructor. After that, you have to check it out here. So in this parenthesis, I can send any of the arguments or a parameter. What can I send within that parenthesis? I can send an arguments or a parameters. That is a variable which helps to perform a particular task. So am I sending any of the arguments or a parameter here? No. If I am not sending any of the arguments or a parameter to the function, then I can call that type of constructor as a default constructor. You are getting? So which I am not sending any of the parameters or an argument to the constructor, at that time I can call that type of constructor as a default constructor. Getting, students? So default constructor is also known as what? Zero argument constructor. So why I am calling this as a zero argument constructor? Because with the help of this default constructor, I am not going to send any of the arguments or a parameter to the constructor, so that it will be known as what? Zero argument constructor. Now we'll see what are the features of this default constructor. The features of default constructor. So while learning any of the type of constructor, you have to concentrate on what do you mean by that type of constructor. For example, if I am working with default constructor, then you have to remember what is default constructor. After that, a syntax, then some small example, then you have to concentrate on its features. So what are the features of each type of constructor is important, okay, so that these kind of question you can expect in your examination, so that you have to concentrate on its features. So let me get back to this default constructor features. So this default constructor function initializes the data members with no argument. So what it will going to do? It will not going to initialize this, or it will not going to send any of the parameter or argument to the function. So that I am going to call this as a default member functions or a default constructor. Getting what is the next point? It can be explicitly written in the public section of the class. So where I have written this default constructor, it must be under the scope of public. So it will be written explicitly in the public section, or which comes under the scope of public. What is the another features that I have here? So the main purpose of using this default constructor is to construct a default value for a default objects of the class type. So what I am going to do? I am going to create one object for a particular class. At that time, I am going to initialize the same value for the object. So what is the purpose of using this default constructor? So the default constructor is to construct a default object of the class type. So what I am going to do? I am going to create any number of objects for a particular class. All the set of objects will be assigned to same set of value. That is nothing but default constructor. So we'll see the syntax along with the example, then you will get to know. So coming to the syntax, here I am specifying the class keyword. What I am doing here? I am specifying the class keyword. That means I am creating a class. So in a class, we can have data members as well as the member function. Constructor is also one of the special member function, so that it must be under the scope of class itself. So I need to give one name for the class. In order to identify that as a class in my program, I have to specify one unique name for the class. Then this opens the scope of a class. This specifies the opening of a class. After that, under the scope of public, I am creating one constructor. How can I call this as a constructor? Again, you move back to the rules of constructor. After that, if all the condition gets satisfied, then I can call this member function as a constructor. Okay, so here you have to check it out whether this parenthesis has one or more arguments or a parameter within it. If not, then I can call that as a default constructor. What I can call that as? I can call that as default constructor. After that, it includes the function body. So here you may write any of the code which is related to this member function or related to this constructor. So I am going to end the scope of class. So what I am doing here? I am going to end the scope of class. So the main line of this default constructor is this one. Am I sending any of the arguments or a parameter within that function? No. So that I can call this constructor as a default constructor. We'll see one example here. Class is a keyword and number is the name of a class. What is the name of a class here? Number, and opening of the class. Under the public section, under the scope of public access specifier, I am creating one constructor which is of the type default constructor. How can I call this as a default constructor? Because I can see that there is no arguments or a parameter within the parenthesis. That is nothing but what? Default constructor. You have to check it out whether it has same name as of the class. What is the member function name here? Number. So the class name is also number. That means the first condition gets satisfied. It has same name as of the class. It includes any of the return type while declaring the function? No. It has no return type here. So that I can this satisfy the another rule of writing a constructor function. Whether it is comes under the scope of public, it is also right. So it satisfies all the condition of writing a constructor, so that I can consider this number as a constructor. So whether it is sending any of the arguments or a parameter to the function? No. So that I can call this function as a default function or a default constructor. So here what I am doing? I am initializing n to 0. So while writing this n to 0, here you have to take int. or else you will ended up with error. Why it will be error? Because here I have not declared this variable n. So, or else you can also write in a private, you can also declare in n. If you done here, then no need to write the int again in this line. So, by directly you can use this n is equal to 0. Or else you must declare that as a variable, or else you can take data type along with the name of a variable. Getting? So, this ends the scope of this number constructor. After that, I am going to end the class. What I am going to do? I am going to end the scope of a class. So, this is how default constructor will going to do. Okay. If I have n number of objects for a particular type of class, all the n number of objects will be initialized to same set of values. So, I repeat. So, when I have more than, that means I can create any number of an object for a class, right? So, by making use of this default constructor, at that time, all the objects of a particular class will be initialized to same set of values. That is nothing but default constructor. Getting? So now we'll see some of the disadvantages of having this default constructor in our program. So what are the disadvantages? So by making use of this default constructor, I cannot send or I cannot initialize the different objects with different set of values. For example, let me have one class ABC. So here I have a class called ABC and I have 3 objects, namely A1, A2 and A3. Okay. So what are the 3 objects that I have for a class ABC? A1, A2 and A3. So when I am using this default constructor, all these objects, all the 3 objects will be initialized to same set of values. I repeat, all the objects of a constructor will be initialized to same set of values if I am using default constructor in my program. If I am using default constructor in my program. So now we'll see what are the disadvantages of using this default constructor. So here many objects of the same class created, then all the objects of a class, then what are the objects that I am going to create for a particular class, then all the objects will going to be initialized to same set of values. With the help of this default constructor, I cannot initialize the different objects with different values. So that will be one of the disadvantage. And what is the next disadvantage? It is not possible to initialize the different object with different initial value. That means if I am creating n number of objects for a particular class, if all the objects are initialized to same set of values, then that won't allow me to initialize the different value for the different objects. So, both are same, that is nothing but we cannot initialize the different objects with different values. So, what is another disadvantage? All the objects of a class will be initialized to same set of values. So, that is nothing but one of the disadvantage of using this default constructor. It won't accept any of the parameter, in the sense it cannot be overloaded also. What is the condition for overloading? So, it must be 2 or more function must have the same name as of the class but differs in number of arguments and type of arguments. Here I am not sending any arguments or a parameter, in the sense, am I able to overload that function? No, right? So that this default constructor cannot be overloaded. That is also one of the point that you can write for the default constructor. Getting? I hope you all understood with this default constructor. Here you have to think what do you mean by default constructor and what are the features. After that, there is a syntax for the default constructor along with example and what are the disadvantages of using this kind of default constructor in our program. It's all about default constructor. We'll see the next type of constructor, that is parameterized constructor. What is this parameterized here? Parameters are nothing but an arguments are a variable that I am going to send to the function. That is nothing but parameterized constructor. You already know what are the rules that you have to be followed while writing the constructor function. Then how default constructor looks like. So if the parenthesis, within the parenthesis, it does not contain any of the argument or a variable value, then I can call that as a default constructor. But parameterized constructor in the sense, in that constructor, I am going to send one or more parameters or arguments. That is nothing but what? Parameterized constructor. Here you can see that parameterized constructor will going to take one or more argument. What it means? It will going to take one or more parameters and argument to the function. That is nothing but what? Parameterized constructor. Can I overload this parameterized constructor? Yes, because it has a different signature. I can use different number of variables, that different number of arguments with different data types, so that the overloaded function rule can be utilized in this parameterized constructor. Okay, that is also one of the point regarding this parameterized constructor. So in this, using this kind of constructor, that is parameterized constructor, it is possible for me to initialize the different objects with different values. Let me take one example. That is, I am creating a class called STU. What is the class name here? STU. And I am going to create two objects, S1 and S2. So if I am using a parameterized constructor in my program, that means these two objects can have different values with different parameters. So what I can have? I can initialize the different objects with different set of values. That can be possible with the help of this parameterized constructor. Getting? So these parameterized constructors are also invoked automatically. For example, if my object has one argument within it, then it will going to find for a match. So if that match found, then it will going to execute this S1 object. So if my S2 object has two parameter, at the time it will going to check for the signature. If that signature matches, at that time it will going to invoke S2 objects. That is what they meant in the third point. Getting, students? So parameterized constructors are the types of constructor. It can accept two or more arguments or a parameters. I can send an argument or a variable or a parameter within that parenthesis. That is mainly used to perform a particular task. So if it is possible to send a parameter or an argument, then it can be overloaded. So what it can be? It can be overloaded, and I can initialize different objects with different set of values. That is regarding parameterized constructor. Getting? So now we'll see the syntax of this parameterized constructor. So here you have to mainly concentrate on this line. In all the type of constructor, you have to concentrate on the member function, how we are going to use. So here class is a keyword. Class name is the name of a class where the actual scope of this class started. And under the public section, I am creating one member function with the same name as of the class. If the member function has same name as of the class, then what I can call that? I can call that as what? Constructor. So if that constructor has an argument or a parameter within that parenthesis, then I can call that type of constructor as a parameterized constructor. What I can call that as? I can call that as a parameterized constructor. So how can I find this as a constructor? Again, you have to go back to the rules of constructor. If all the condition gets satisfied, then I can call this as a constructor. So coming to this parameterized constructor, what it will going to accept? It will going to accept two or more arguments within the parenthesis. That means it will going to accept two or more variables as an argument or a parameter. So looking back into it, class name, that is same name as of the class. Here I am sending one or two arguments. So there is no restriction over the number of arguments. You can send any of the argument, but it must be limited to a particular type of program. Getting? And this indicates the function body of this constructor, and this specifies the end of a class. What I am doing there? I am going to end the scope of this class. So under the public section, I am going to take the parameterized constructor. It will have arguments within it. Getting? We'll see the example. Here class is a keyword and I have a class called max, M-A-X, that is the class name here, and this opening of the flower brace indicates opening of class scope. Under the public section, under the public access specifier, I have a member function called max. What is the member function here? Max. So am I sending any of the arguments or parameter within that max? Yes, you are right. I am sending two arguments or two parameters. What I am sending? I am sending two parameters or an argument. So what I can call these type of constructor? That is parameterized constructor. Getting? So here A and B are the two variables of the data type integer. So what I am sending? I am sending two parameters of the data type integer. A and B are the data variables of this class. After that, I have one condition. What is that? If A is equal to B. If A is equal to B, if it is true, then I am going to assign the value of A to B. If not, then I am going to assign the value of B to big. Getting? So you can see here, I am going to take the value of A as 10 and B as 20. Then I am going to apply this value for the condition. That means if A greater than B, in the sense A is nothing but 10, I am going to check whether 10 is greater than 20. What I am doing here, I am checking whether 10 is greater than 20. Whether it is true or false. If it is true, then this A will be assigned as a big. If not, then B will be assigned as a big. So which is the true here? Which condition will going to satisfy? So 10 is not greater than B. So that it will come to else part. The big is equal to B. The value of B will be 20 itself. Getting, students? So I am going to end the scope of this member function, that is a special type of member function, constructor, and I am going to end the scope. So why we require constructor mainly? Mainly to initialize the data variables of a class. So which are the data variables that I have? A and B. I am going to initialize that data variables with values and it will be called automatically when it found the match or when it found a particular match for the function. Getting? So this is nothing but what? Parameterized constructor. Then what are the features of this parameterized constructor? As I discussed earlier, if I am able to send arguments or a parameter, then it has a ability to overload. That is one of the features regarding this parameterized constructor. This parameterized constructor can be overloaded. What is the next feature that I have? For an object created with one argument, then constructor with only one argument will be invoked. For example, I have 3 objects in my class. So I am going to send a particular parameter to one object and I am going to send 2 arguments for a second object. Let me show you. For example, stu, s1. I am not going to send any of the parameter. stu, s2. I am going to send 2 objects here. The value for the 2 arguments 10 and 20. stu, s3. I am going to send 3 value 15, 25 and 35. So what they meant in the second point is that, so when I am using this constructor, when the constructor will be called, when the objects are created. What are the objects that I am creating here? S1, S2 and S3. So if S1 has default argument or no argument, then default constructor will be called. If this S2 object has 2 arguments, at that time the constructor with 2 arguments will be invoked. So based on the number of arguments that I am going to send to the object will be invoked by the constructor. So if the object has 3 arguments, at that time the constructor with 3 arguments or 3 parameters will be invoked. Okay. So these are the features which is related to parameterized constructor. And one more point, we can have a default value for the parameterized constructor. For example, here I have 3 variables or 3 objects, S1, S2 and S3. So with the help of this parameterized constructor, I can initialize all the objects with the same set of values. That is nothing but what? It can also have the default values or default set of values or arguments to a particular object. So that is one of the features which is related to parameterized constructor. Getting? So in all the type of constructor, you have to concentrate what do you mean by that particular type of constructor, then what is the syntax, along with one small example, if there are any features, after that whether it has any disadvantages or advantages, that you have to remember. What is the last type of constructor that we have? That is nothing but what? Copy constructor. You are all familiar with this word copy, right? So I was just kidding. That is nothing but what? Copy constructor. Why we require this copy constructor? So mainly constructors are used to initialize the data variables of a class. So when it will be invoked or when it will be called, when an object is created. But when I want to copy the content of one object to another object, what I am supposed to do? When I want to copy the content of one object to another object, then I must go with this type of constructor. That is nothing but what? Copy constructor. So coming to this copy constructor, it is a parameterized constructor. It means what? It will going to take one or more arguments. What it will going to take? It will going to take an argument, and so by making use of this copy constructor, I can copy the content of one object to another object. That is nothing but what? Copy constructor. Then what are the situations where I can apply this copy constructor concept? So we'll see now. So this, in order to initialize an object with a value of already existing object. For example, let me take stu is a class. I have s1. After that, I am going to create one more object, s2. If I want to initialize the value of s2 as the content of s1, if I want to copy the value of s1 to s2. So s2 is a newly created object, but I want to have this s2 as the copy of this s1 object. At that time, I can use this copy constructor. When I want to initialize an object with the values of already existing object, at that time I can go with this copy constructor. So when an object must return as a function value, when you want to return a function as an object value, so in this copy constructor, it will going to accept only one argument. What it will going to accept? It will going to accept single argument. So with the help of this copy constructor, I'm going to send only the reference of an object for the class type. What I'm going to do? I'm going to send the reference of an object to the class type. So I'm not going to send whole copy of the objects to be copied to another object. So I'm going to send only the reference or an address of an object as the class type. So we'll see the syntax. Now you can understand. Here class is a keyword and class name is a name of a class, and this indicates opening of a class. Under the public section, I am creating a copy constructor. It is a parameterized constructor and it will going to accept only one argument. Which is that one argument? It will going to accept a reference or an address of an object of the class type. So with the help of that pass by reference method, I can copy the content of that object to a particular object. Getting? So here we see public is a access specifier. Under the scope of this public, I am creating a constructor of the type copy constructor. So again you have to follow all the rules for the constructor. What are the rules that you have to be followed? You have to check if all the conditions satisfy, then I can call this as a constructor function. Getting? Here I have a class name and within that I have class name and ampersand ptr, that is pointer variable. So why we require this ampersand? What is the usage of using this ampersand? That is nothing but address of variable. So if I am specifying a here, then it will going to hold the address of that variable a where it is located in the memory block when it is created or declared. Here I have a class name along with the address of operator with object. So what I am going to do in this case, I am going to send the reference of an object to the class name or to the class. That is nothing but copy constructor. It will going to accept only one argument, that is its address or a reference. And here we can write some of the code related to this copy constructor. Then I am going to end the scope of a class. Now we'll see one example related to copy constructor. So here I have a class keyword and number is the name of a class. What is the name of the class here? That I have number and it indicates the opening of a class. Under the public section, under the scope of this public access specifier, I am creating one member function that is nothing but what? Copy constructor. We'll see now. So here I am creating one member function. How can I call this as a constructor? It has same name as of the class. So number is the name of a class as well as the name of a function, and I am sending some parameters. What I am sending? I am sending some arguments. Then which type of constructor it is? It is a parameterized constructor. It will going to accept one or more argument or a parameter within it. So that I can call this first type of constructor as a parameterized constructor, because copy constructor is also one of the parameterized constructor. So we'll see what I am doing here. I am taking one argument that is int n and I am assigning the value of n to a. So what I am doing? I am assigning the value of n to a and I have one more function. So this opening and closing of this class ends the scope of this member function or a constructor number. So coming to the one more constructor that I have. So which type of constructor it is? It is a copy constructor. Which type of constructor it is? It is a copy constructor. How can I call this as a copy constructor? Because here I don't have any of the return type. I don't have any return type or a predefined data type. So instead of that, I have a class name. What I have? I have a class name with a reference. The reference of an object to that particular class. So that with this syntax, I can call this as a copy constructor. Getting? So here, name of a class, that is number. So within the parenthesis as an argument, I am sending the class name along with a reference. This ampersand and x. So what I am sending? I am sending the reference of an object to the class. So what is the body of this copy constructor comprises here? A is equal to x dot a. So what I am doing here? A is equal to x dot a. What is this dot here? Why we require the dot operator? That is mainly used to access the data members or a member function of a class. But in this case, I am accessing the data member. That is a data variable. Which is the data variable of this class? That is a. Because I am going to assign the value of n to a, so that I can call this a as a data member of a class called number. Getting? So a is equal to x dot a. So whatever the value it resides in this a. So a is nothing but n. So whatever the value that I am going to send within the argument, that will be copied to this a. So with the help of objects and dot operator, I am fetching the value of this a. I am going to fetch the value of this a and the value which is reside in that n. So that n is nothing but a. That value will be copied to this a variable. That value will be copied to this a variable. What I am doing here? A is equal to x dot a. So here a is nothing but n. So in this parameterized constructor, I need to specify or I need to initialize that parameterized constructor with some values. So when I am going to send that value will be copied to this a, or that value will be accessed by with the help of this object name, that is object x with dot operator, mainly to access the data variable of a class. The value which is resides in n, that will be copied to this a variable. That will be copied to a variable. At this time, if this constructor invoked, when it found the match in the object creation, at that time it will be invoked. So when this copy constructor invoked, at that time whatever the value which is in the n, that will be copied to a, and we are going to get one line like copy constructor invoked, right? After that, I am going to end the scope of this function number, and I am going to end the scope of a class. So what I am doing at last? I am going to end the scope of a class. So this is how copy constructor will going to work. Or else you can also see that STU is a class. stu is a class and I have one more object a1. So this a1 comprises of 10. So what is this a1 is a object of a class stu and it has a value a1, stu a2 of a1, stu a2 of a1. What it means? I am going to copy the content of this a1 to a2. So with the help of this copy constructor, what I am doing, it is a type of parameterized constructor. There I am going to send the reference or address of an object as a parameter. So here what I am doing, I am copying the content of a1 to a2 object. When this copy constructor will be used, when I want to copy the content of one object to another object, at the time I must use this copy constructor. This is what I am doing in these two lines. I will write it again. Here I have a class called stu. stu is the name of a class and I am creating one object called a1. What is the object name here? a1, and I am going to send some parameter within that a1, that is 10. So here I am sending a argument value to the a1 object and I am going to create one more object, that is a2. What is the one more object name? That is a2. I am going to copy the content of a1 to a2. What I am doing here? I am going to copy the content of a1 to a2. So when this copy constructor will be used, when I want to copy the content of one object to another object, at that time I can go with this copy constructor. I can go with this copy constructor. I hope you all understood with today's session. In this session, I had a discussion regarding the types of constructor. So that is default constructor. There you have to consider what do you mean by default constructor along with the features. After that, a syntax and example. What are the syntax and what is the example for that default constructor, and what are the disadvantages of using that default constructor. Then what do you mean by parameterized constructor and what are its features. What do you mean by parameterized constructor and what are its features? Along with the syntax and example, we had a discussion, and later on we had a discussion regarding the copy constructor. So in this copy constructor, you just remember the syntax. What you are supposed to remember? You have to remember the syntax. That means here I am not going to send the whole object as an argument. I am going to send only the address of an object as the argument. When I want to copy the content of one object to another object, I am going to use this copy constructor. And in what are the situations where I can apply or where I can use this copy constructor, that and all you have to remember along with the syntax and example. Okay, it's all about today's session. By the next session, I will be discussing regarding how to invoke the constructor. What are the methods in order to call the constructor? So I will meet you in the next session. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you.